Hello everyone, and welcome. I want to encourage you to make your way to your table. My name is Ben Hall. I am honored once again to be associated with this great event. I work with News Channel 5, host of Issues of Faith, and an investigative reporter. My job is to make sure we start on time and end on time. So as a result, I want to encourage you now to go to your table to begin eating. If you have any open seats, please invite one of the Conquerors to sit down with you, talk to them about the program. They are the people who represent this program best. So please begin eating, and we will have an invocation and official prayer in just a few moments. Hello again, and welcome everyone. I hope you're enjoying your lunch. We want to go ahead and get the program started. We have a great program plan that'll really give you a sense of the wonderful things that are being accomplished here. We want to start with the invocation. And the person who has agreed to give us the invocation is Sheriff Darren Hall. He was first elected in 2002. He was the youngest person ever elected sheriff in Metro Davidson County. He's now serving his third term after running unopposed in 2006 and 2010. He's a native Nashvilleian who serves on numerous boards and is very active in the community. So now I'd like to turn it over to Sheriff Hall for the invocation.
Thank you, Ben. Would you bow with me? Our most gracious and heavenly Father, we pause this morning first to give you thanks. And not only you, but also to thank those who are responsible for us all being here. The staff, the volunteers of Inner City, your faithful servant and their leader, Mr. Lytle Thomas. We ask that you bless the food that we are receiving and for those who have prepared it. And Father, please have us all be mindful of those who are serving you, who are serving this community, and are serving this country. Let us be in your Son's name. Amen.
Thank you, Sheriff. And as I said at the top, it's always an honor for me to be here. And the next person I'm going to introduce, I've introduced every year, and it's somebody we all know, and that is Buck Dozier. He is the chairman of the board of this great organization of Nashville Inner City Ministries. He's a familiar face. He served on the Metro Council. He was elected countywide as a council member at large. He also served as fire chief and is currently executive director out of the Tennessee State Fairgrounds. So I now want to introduce Buck Dozier.
Thank you. Welcome, especially for those who are here for the first time. We are honored that you're here. And for all those who continue to come and be here each year, we're grateful, of course, that you're here. There's a number of people who honored us today by being here. There are elected officials and some of our people in Metro who are our public servants. I would like to ask them to stand as I call their name and remain standing, and let's applaud at the end when all of them introduced. Juvenile Court Clerk David Smith, George Rooker, who is Assessor of Property, Betty Adams Green, our Juvenile Court Judge, our Trustee, Charlie Cardwell, our County Clerk, Brenda Wynn, our Criminal Court Clerk, Howard Gentry, our Police Chief, Steve Anderson, and I'll ask his men and women of the force to stand. He has a number of people. Would you all stand with him? Sheriff Darren Hall. We have, and for the first time, the Vice Mayor of Belle Meade, James V. Hunt, Sr., and our District 60 State Representative, Jim Gatto. And did I get Ricky Rooker, our Circuit Court Clerk, and SEC referee. Let's give these people a wonderful round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been in this city all my life, and it is a wonderful city. It is known all over the world, and especially because of what happened on the baseball diamond up north this past weekend. We're even further known. We're known as a great American city. We're known as a progressive city. We are tremendous in so many ways, one or two or top 10 in so many different categories. And part of the reason for that is our mayor. His incentive on health is something that is really new to southern cities, and he's being congratulated all over the United States because of his initiatives in that way. Just a few months from now, our brand new convention center will be opening. And one of the things that I think the mayor did an extremely wonderful job with was when we had our flood here, which was historic. He led the way. He set the example. He set the tone for all of the people in Nashville. Ladies and gentlemen, a friend of inner city ministry, Mayor Carl Dean.
Well, thank you, Buck. First, it's great to be here. This is a tremendous turnout. And I've been looking forward to this day ever since Lytle asked me to come, and thank you for that invitation. I know you got to cram a lot into a short period of time, so I'm going to be very brief, but there are a few things that I want to say. Inner City Ministries does a phenomenal job. You average 1,000 volunteers every year, with more than a third of them growing up in your ministry. And that says a lot about your ministry. Then you've got 200 adults who have volunteered with Inner City for more than 10 years, including 20 who have volunteered for 20 years. And you've needed all those volunteers. Your staff reports that on average you have served 1,200 inner city children every week for the last 33 years. That's a lot of youth. When I think about Inner City Ministries, it reminds me of a story I read in a book by a priest called Fully Human, Fully Alive. And I want to tell you about an illustration he offers in that book, and I want to sort of leave this with you to think about. The illustration talks about a man who was vacationing in the Bahamas. And while he was out there, he saw a man on a pier and a lot of people milling around him. Naturally, he went over to see what was going on, and the crowd was reacting to a young man's last-minute preparation for a solo journey around the world in a homemade boat. Without exception, everybody in the crowd was very negative and very pessimistic. They were saying things like, the sun will broil you, you won't have enough food, the weather will be terrible, there'll be storms, the boat of yours cannot withstand a severe storm. You'll never make it. You'll never make it. When the observer saw what was happening, he got into the action himself, and he started offering words of optimism and words of hope and words of encouragement. He said, we're with you, we're proud of you, we're going to help you, good luck to you, you can make it. And after what I've read and learned about what's happening here at Inner City Ministries, you are doing exactly that. Instead of telling kids, you're not going to make it, you don't have a chance, don't dream, you tell them the exact opposite. You tell them to dream, you tell them that they're going to make it, you tell them that they will do well in life. And you not only tell them, you show them. You show them that it doesn't matter where you live, that it doesn't matter what you or your parents have been through, it doesn't matter if you have made a mistake, or if you live in what they call the projects. You tell them they can make it in spite of all that. I have not always been mayor. for many years, for about 16 years, I served as a public defender. And when I was a public defender, I represented a lot of kids who were bound over to the adult system. I represented a lot of kids who didn't go anywhere. And I think that most of them, maybe not all of them, but certainly most of them, would have turned out differently, and things would have turned out differently for them if they had hopped on a yellow bus going to inner city ministries. And if they had, maybe they would have had different lives. You provide a lot of valuable services, but to me, the encouragement that you give, the personal investment you make in the children shows them the right path. And I thank you for that. Thank you for inviting me and giving me a chance to speak. Lytle, you're a wonderful man. You do great things for our city. You have my full support. And I am so proud of you and all your colleagues and all that you do for our city. So one of the great things about being mayor is I can say, on behalf of all the citizens in Nashville, thank you to Inner City Ministries. Thank you for what you do.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Larry Cantrell. Good morning, everyone. Is that better? Fantastic. Thank you, Mayor Dean. Again, my name is Larry Cantrell, and I have the privilege of giving you information, and my goal is to point all of you to a place that we're proud of, and that is our website. We want to encourage all of you after this meeting to talk to your friends, talk to your associates about the Inner City Ministry, and we want you to Google Inner City Ministry and find our website at innercityministry.org, where you can find out great things about us. And so what I want to do this morning, with the time that I have, is just kind of show you what we're about as we go to the internet. On this website, you can find out a lot of things. For instance, our history, board of directors, our staff, financial information. In just a little bit, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the programs that we have, like our learning centers, our camp, the Conquerors program, which you're a part of, Sparks Work. If you go down here, you see a lot of other things, like our catfish dinner that we hold and other items that we might do throughout the year, ways that you can help. We'll have some news, if you continue to follow us, about the success that we're having with our young people. You'll be able to find some photos and videos on our website in a way to contact us. But with the time that I have, I want to tell you that the way we've done our programs is based upon the order of things. Perhaps you have seen our buses, and we believe that everything begins with that bus. When we fill that bus, we begin to feel the hope in the lives of children. And you may ask, well, where do they go after they get on the bus? Well, we take them to learning centers. And there, they'll meet some loving people. Mostly, our learning centers are local congregations, churches of Christ, and those young people will go there. And that's where we begin to share with them basic life skills. We will introduce significant relationships there. And they will learn not just to perhaps develop a faith, but they'll learn to share a faith. They'll learn to respect other faiths. They'll learn how to become competent in a multicultural environment. And that's the world that they live in. So our learning centers are manned by great volunteers, and they are the places where our young people will really gain significant relationships. These are the places sometimes that in the midst of trying to teach the young people, sometimes at these learning centers we learn that the first thing you have to do is feed a hungry child. because it's hard to accept a lot of information if you're hungry. And those are a lot of young people that we serve. After doing inner city for such a long time, one of the second longest items that we have as a program is our camp. And at this camp, we will have several weeks, 2 weeks, where we will serve approximately about 200 young people. It's an awesome experience because this is a time where we can bring our young people out of their environment and they can experience nature and they can experience safety and they can explore so many other areas in their lives. And so camp is a significant place in their life. It is so significant, allow me to share this note with you. Several, if not, I didn't use the right word, many of our young people, once they have become adults, when they are asked, what were the most important days in your life? They will respond, camp. Camp was one of some of the best days in my adolescent life. That's how important camp is to us. We have a Conquerors program, and you see our little logo there. There's a reason behind this. Behind camp, and after several years of reaching out and working with so many young people, we learn so many things. We reach well over 800 young people per week during the academic year. And it's not the same 800 every year. And what we were learning painfully was that we were doing a great job with the children in their elementary years. But our great challenge was really in the area of middle schoolers and high schoolers. We began to lose them, and we knew we had to really initiate some programs wherein we would keep more of our high schoolers and middle schoolers, and we needed support to do it, and this is where this fundraiser came from. And so we want to thank you so much because you're the ones that really drive our Conqueror programs. And so some of the young people that you see, they're here because of your interest, and we want to gain more interest. It is through the Conquerors group that we are able to have more specific programs that's designed to challenge our young people, not just to serve, because these young people also serve their own community, but the Conquerors program is designed to not just develop young people to have a very good presentation in front of you, but we need these young people to go back into their community and make a significant difference. And that is what the Conquerors program is all about. Another significant work that we do is called Sparks Work. Sparks Work is an after-school program. And it's really a pilot program that we're learning a lot when it comes to how in the world do we serve all of these young people. How can we be far more effective? Here's what we learn about our young people. Those young people who stick with inner city, those young people who stay with us, this is one thing that we know for sure, that they stay in school. The challenge after that great blessing of understanding they're staying in school is that they're not always graduating from high school. Because quite frankly, some of them simply do not have the skill set. There are other challenges at home, there's challenges in the community. And what we're wanting to do is to put enough effort in there where we can help them achieve their high school diploma. Because it truly takes a community to care for some of the needs that they have that maybe their family is challenged. Where did we come up with this name? Well, we realized something. We just couldn't have a tutoring program. We have to have a mentoring program. And the goal is this. What's most important to our teenagers? Themselves. So what do? You talk about their spark. You talk about the things that interest them the most. You talk about the things that fires them up. You talk about the things that they want to become. And what do we say in turn as a mentor? Well, words like this is what I say. So you want to become an electrician? You really want to become an entertainer? Are you serious or are you fooling yourself? I can guarantee you one thing. If you don't do your homework, you'll never achieve your spark. So come on. Let's get your spark to work. Let's get your homework done on time. And that's the essence of Sparks Work. helping our young people connect to their spark, and providing the mentorship wherein they will have the discipline to become a better student. A significant thing that we learned in the lives of our young people is some of the reason why they're having so many problems in school, unfortunately, is because no one has ever taught them how to be a student in the classroom. And so instead of being a student, they reject the whole teaching process. And the only way to drive them back to become a student are loving people in their lives, helping them to understand that if you want to become something great in this world, you're going to have to become a student. I want to direct your attention to something that you need to know about Conquerors and Sparks work. If you go to our website, you'll see this area down here that refers to our basic life skills and developmental assets. And you'll be able to see our basic life skills and what they mean. I really don't have time to go through that, but what I want to do is introduce you to developmental assets. That's very important to us. Developmental assets come from the Search Institute, and they have developed these things that we call assets to really challenge some of the problem behaviors in young people. Now, when I say this, what we're dealing with in the lives of the adolescent that we serve are high-risk behaviors. We're talking about behaviors that are known to potentially limit psychological, physical, and economic well-being during their adolescent or adulthood. For instance, violence. When their national survey was done, and if we're to define violence in this way, has this child engaged in 3 or more acts of fighting, hitting, injuring a person, carrying a weapon, or threatening physical harm in the past 12 months, here's the idea of these assets. The more assets you have in your life, the greater likelihood that young people will achieve more things in life and ultimately become a productive citizen in the world that they live in. Here's a stat for you. 60% of those children surveyed, and that's well over 500,000, reported acts of violence in their lives, and they only had 0 to 10 of these assets that I'm talking about. But here's what is incredible. Those who've had 21 to 30 of these developmental assets only report 16% of violence. How about this? 31 to 40 assets in the lives of young people, the report is single digit. 6% reports violence. What about school problems? Well, according to this definition of school problem, this is a student who has skipped school 2 or more days in the last 4 weeks and or has a below C average. Those children have 0 to 10 of these developmental assets. 43 children report school problems. How about this? When these young people have 21 or more of these developmental assets that we're interested in developing in their lives, is down to single digits. 21 or more assets mean 7% report school problems. When it's 31 to 40, only 2%. So I hope you begin to see why we're so interested in developing assets in the lives of young people. When I say assets, I want you to understand a few things. Assets are considered, property or resources. The word is used as a building block for human development. And so these things are like resources that a young person is to have in their life, especially in their adolescent development. You see, these same assets can increase over time. In other words, the more assets a young person has in their life, think about it, the better decisions they will make in life. If you look through here, there's categories like support. Does that young person have support in their life? For instance, do they have family support, a positive family communication, other adult relationships, caring neighborhood, caring school climate, parent involvement in schooling? They are broken down into these 8 categories: empowerment, boundaries and expectations, constructive use of time. All of these represent external assets. And what's exciting about the inner city is that we knew we practically had half of them. But I'm proud to tell you that we're recognizing these assets now after 2 years of our pilot program. We're recognizing that some of our kids have scored as high as 32 developmental assets in their lives. And so, of course, we're expecting them to achieve even more. The other assets are internal assets. For instance, and this is the reason why we started Sparks Work. Do these young people have a commitment to learning? Do they have achievement motivation, school engagement, doing their homework, bonding to school, reading for pleasure? This is where we intersected. What about positive values, social competencies, and positive identity? That is probably the most challenging area that we have, keeping that young person motivated. If I can, I want to step away because that was the website story. Let me share with you the inner city story. With all the things that we're doing, I want you to be able to be focused in on what we're really about. You see, the inner city ministry, if you look at it from afar, I'll be honest with you, you look at it and you say, my goodness, that is an out of control bus ministry. Amen. Because you see that bus, baby, and it's rocking. And that's where life happens. That's where relationships are developed. We open those doors, and I'm here to tell you, the kids who get on our bus, I'm just telling you the truth. The kids that get on our bus have been kicked out of all the other programs. And we say, come on. And the reason why we say come on, because if we don't say come on, the prisons are saying come on. And we believe before the prison should have a long-standing resident member, it should be the city of Nashville who fights for the child. Because I'm here to tell you, it is simply good business sense to put our effort and money into the adolescent instead of seeing that child grow up, lose all hope, and become a criminal. And so we have this Conquerors luncheons, and it's a business luncheon. And you know what I tell our young people? You're here to do business, baby. What's your business? Your life. Your life is our business. Because when you grow up and you're not a leech to our society, we applaud you. Because we're invested in you. We don't want to see you fail, because when you fail, we all hurt. And so these young people, they just don't believe in themselves, but they believe in you because you care. You see, the Conquerors Luncheon is really our effort to say, you know what? If we can expand your community, if we can expand your world, we're absolutely confident that you will be an asset. There we go again, an asset. You see, when businesses see our young people as assets in the community, we all change our view of the young persons. I don't know. Maybe you saw some of our young men, and I don't know if you're intimidated by them. You got dreadlocks. Thank God. I got to coach them a whole lot. I said, don't y'all come up here sagging now. I'm about to hurt you. And so our guys come dressed for business. You know what I like? When they come dressed for business, that means they're focused. That means they're motivated. You know what that means? When Nashville have young people who have established hope in their life, this is one thing we're confident of. They will choose to achieve because they are wanting to continue to please the people who have involved themselves in their lives. That's what we're all about. I want you to consider all the many ways that you can help inner city. And when you go to our website, I want you to go to how you can help. And there's a lot of different ways that you can help us achieve so many different things. I want to conclude with this thought. Why do we work so hard with what we do? Why do we work so hard? Why do we labor so much? We labor and we ask more volunteers to get involved. Why? Here's the why. When we together help save one family, when we teach one young person how to love his children, when we teach a young lady how to love her family, when we together build stronger families, we have a stronger city, we have a stronger nation, and we just simply believe that's what we've been called to do. I want to call to your attention Dr. Steve Flatt. He is the president of the National Healthcare Corporation. And what's great about Dr. Steve Flatt, he's also a board member of Nashville Inner City Ministry.
We could just get Larry to be a little enthusiastic. That's the only thing we're working on. Thank all of you for being here. On behalf of the NICM board, I know that it takes a good bit of your day to come here. We have 700 or more people, and for many of you, this has become an annual function. Thank you for that. I don't know what I can add really to what Larry has already said. What a magnificent ministry. It's been my pleasure to serve with Buck and other individuals in this room on this board for the last 7 years. And I am every week inspired by the Larry Cantrells, the Lytle Thomases, and the staff and the volunteers who give their time way beyond what a board meeting once a quarter can do. In fact, I'd like to, before I say anything else, would anybody here who works with Inner City Ministry, or you volunteer your time on those buses, in the learning centers, in the mentoring program, with Conquerors, with SparksWorks, stand up right now and let us thank you for what you do. Would you please stand if you're on the staff or a volunteer? You know, prior to moving to Murfreesboro a year and a half ago, I had lived in Nashville for over half a century. I grew up here. I'm a product of Metro Public Schools. I was a summer tour guide for 5 years. I saw every part of our city. I can remember driving a turtle-top bus and turning from First Avenue onto Broadway. And let me tell you, in the late 70s, it didn't look like it looks today. We have, thanks to great leadership like Mayor Carl Dean and his predecessors, we have become one of the most dynamic and vibrant urban centers anywhere in the United States. But despite those very positive changes, our city's battles against poverty, its systemic causes and all that it elicits, crime, drugs, gang activity, violence, delinquency, domestic abuse, it's far from over. I'll tell you a sobering statistic. I have some demographic software, and I just thought, I'm going to check this out this morning, and I did. Do you realize that 5 miles from where we're having lunch today, take a 5-mile radius around this building, and there are over 20,000 households who live on less than $15,000 a year. Over 20,000 households. That's over 10% of the population in that same radius. When Larry talks about people coming on our buses hungry and not being able to study, that's not hyperbole. You know, the reality is poverty, I suppose, and its causes and consequences, I don't guess it'll ever be totally eradicated. But I am a great believer that it can be severely minimized, and it must be. Because I'm a firm believer that the greatness of our city, no matter how many convention centers we build, that the greatness of this city will never exceed the quality of life for that poorest 10% of our citizens. It never will. And whether you're talking about things you can measure like crime or workforce ability or homelessness or taxes or incarceration costs, all those things affect us all. But the worst thing is just knowing that any life does not fulfill what God had in mind for that life to be. It's a problem that demands all of our city's resources. Demands government, demands our educational system, law enforcement, demands the church community, and frankly, it demands our business leaders like Larry was saying. I've lived long enough in Nashville to know which when the business community gets behind a particular problem and tackles it, that you really begin to marshal those resources necessary to make it work. I support Nashville Inner City Ministry because I believe it's a vital resource in the battle to inspire and empower people to realize their life's potential, to genuinely become all that God had in mind for them being. You saw the website. I hope you go to it and ponder it a little bit. The truth is, this is a 24/7 ministry. It never sleeps. And it focuses on counseling, on spiritual training, on mentoring, on educational assistance, on job training, on personal development skills, on personal benevolence, taking food and money and clothing to citizens in need. Nashville Inner City Ministry is changing futures one at a time. And today we're all going to have an opportunity to partner in that one more time. I've been asked to do the solicitation portion of this luncheon, and I'm glad to do that. On your table, you'll see a card. And by the way, I hope you will, each of you at your table, hope you take the time to fill out this card. We obviously like to know who's here. We'd love to have a way that we can keep in contact with you. We particularly would like to grow our database of email addresses. But on here, you've got the opportunity, if you'd like to be a regular, ongoing, sustaining member on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis of a certain amount of dollars. We certainly would not only give you the opportunity, but encourage you to do that. At the bottom of that front side, you can see we're already enlisting table hosts for next year. And we'd love to sign you up. If you're a guest this year, and maybe you have been for 2 or 3 years, you think, I've really grown to appreciate and love what this ministry is doing for Middle Tennessee. I'd like to actually see if I can't get 9 other folks to join me next year. We'd love for you to go ahead and think about doing that. On the back of the card, you have an opportunity, if you choose, don't have to, but if you'd like to give today via some type of credit card, you have the opportunity to authorize that deduction, and of course we'd need your signature for that. And many of you, I suspect most of you, probably came prepared to write a check, and we would appreciate all of those ways that you render support to Nashville Inner City Ministry. I'm going to let you take a moment, if you would, to complete the card and to go ahead and fill out any checks. And there is on your table, the table host should have, with his or her name on it, an envelope that would allow us to collect any of these cards along with any checks that you would like to submit. And let's take just a minute or two and let you fill those out, pass that around. Table host will let you take the lead in collecting those, and then I'll tell you what to do with those in just a moment. While you're filling those out, one thing, Sam, I don't know, can you put the slide up there of the collaboration shot? I don't know if we can put that up or not. One thing we've stressed at every one of these, Nashville is blessed with a lot of great entities and not-for-profits. I want you to take a look at, these are all the not-for-profits that Nashville Inner City Ministry collaborates with. We work together, filling in our part, going into some of the poorest parts of the city to work with all the different organizations you see on the screen to make sure that we are maximizing the donors' dollars. We don't want repetition of services, but we want to fill in the cracks where people could be lost if not for what we do. Now, once you've actually filled out all of those cards and they've been collected in the envelopes, we're asking Lytle, correct me if I'm wrong, the table host, if you would, there are strategically around the room here, there are little flags, if you will. I see an orange one, a red one, down at this end, a yellow one. These represent the tables. Here's a blue one front and center between the cameras. We would ask the table host, when you've actually gotten your envelope filled, pick it up and take it to one of the flagged tables. The red, yellow, orange, blue one. There may be one I can't see because of the lights. But if you would take that right now, obviously we don't want to leave here having misplaced or left on the table any cards or any checks, and so we'll take a moment and get all those collected. And let me thank all of the table hosts for what you've done in actively soliciting the support of your friends and getting them to be here for this magnificent cause. All right, we seem to be getting most of those to the flag tables. Before we close our program today, we're going to hear from the founder of Nashville Inner City Ministry and the current executive director. For 32 years, Lytle Thomas has devoted his life to making inner city ministry the great asset it is for Middle Tennessee. Give him a round of applause as we hear from Lytle.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. We're going to get out on time. We're looking good today. We walked in a while ago. Mayor was late. Steve was broke down on the side of the interstate. Larry Cantrell now is back here trying to go to game plan number 2. But the mayor made it. Steve made it. Praise God they're here. That's great. Hold on to that, Harold. We had some people we missed a while ago inadvertently from the school board. New electees. And we'd like to recognize them. Amy, is it Froggy? Frog? Not say Froggy, they said. Is that you? I apologize. Glad to have you. Keep standing. Keep standing. Sharon Gentry. She's not here. You won't stand up for her, Howard? Thank you. Is it Pinkston? Will? Jill Spearing? Y'all have got your work cut out for you. I tell you, we appreciate you so much in what you're doing. And the farther we go in this ministry, the more we see the challenge that lies before all of us. And we salute you, and we appreciate partnering with you, and we appreciate working with you because our children are worth it. And we thank you. Also, well, this good-looking crowd. Dawn Diener's here. She's a table. Where's Dawn? Stand up. There you are, Dawn. She's a table host over there. Got a whole group over there. Thank you, Dawn. Proud you're here. Stand up again. They didn't see you, Dawn. Stand up there and smile, girl. There you go. Thank you, ma'am. The secretary doesn't me not call people girl. Well, I get in trouble with that all the time. When you work in this ministry, now make sure that your envelope, let me back up. Make sure your envelope is turned into the table with the flag on it. Please do not leave the envelope on the table. And make sure that you filled out a card. I really love you and I want your address and your name. I really do. You're my special friends. I think the world of you and we need you. When you work in this ministry, in the throes of ministry, what Larry was talking about, it gets difficult. And it's easy for you to think we are not accomplishing anything. We spend a lot of money. We do a lot of hard work, and you get to thinking maybe I'm not accomplishing nothing. I want to invite Dr. Harold Wells. Stand up here. This young man right here, I used to chase him. He lived, you was in Settle Court? At the end of Settle Court. See, he's not going to claim being in Settle Court, Joe Deal. He said end of Settle Court. We know what that means. Yes, we know what that means. I want you to share with this audience, from a perspective of a child that grew up with us. Don't tell them things I did to you, because we got a bunch of lawyers here. They'd put me in jail today for things I did to you. I want you to take just a second and share this, because you've got a heart. You're a success story, and I'll take credit for everything that happened to you.
Well, thank you so much, Lyle. I just want to take a second to say, just talk about the impact of this ministry that it had on my life as well. I had a twin brother. He passed away several years ago. So it was two of us. Yes, it was two of us.
Yeah, I
yes,
know you.
that he looked just like me. He was just as big as I was, too. And Lyle, he used to chase us around, and we used to ride the buses. And they also took us to summer camp every summer. So like I was telling Clifford earlier, I said, one thing about this ministry is that it does what a lot of other ministries won't do in our city. They spend time with practically any children, anybody that gets on that bus, and they teach them the right way. Teach them everything they should know, give them all the right skills and tools to grow up and be successful. And I think the impact that Lytle made, where's Joe Deal at?
Back at it.
Raise your hand, Joe. Yeah. These guys helped raise me and my family, my brother. You know, they spent time with us, they taught us, and taught us the right way to go. And without that, I don't think I would be where I am today. So I just want to say thank you, Lionel. I told him that once before, and I just give him a big hug and kiss every time I see him.
Yeah, you forget the kiss. Just give me a hug, brother. I'm not into the kiss.
Because because of what they did, made such a substantial impact in our lives, and you can tell today. And that's why it's so important to give back to inner city. And I feel that when I'll be sending you a check also, Lionel. But thank you so much.
That's good. Thank you. Chief Anderson, would you step up here, please? Thank you, Harold. Darren Hall, would you step up here? We're not going to take but a second. We want to let these people get back to work, make more money so they can give them more money. Callaway, would you come up here? Yeah. These people serve our community. Juvenile crime is a citywide problem. Inner city ministry and the Conquerors is a solution. I believe that. I know that. Harold Wells, Dr. Wells, I should say, is an example of that, along with so many more. I want all of our Conquerors that's here today to stand up. I hope you've gotten some dialogue with them at your table, that you've been able to talk with them. I hope they did a good job. Young'uns, would y'all all just stand up at your table? If you got one at your table and not standing, tell them it's supposed to stand up. Look at that. Thank you, young'uns. Here's the kind of impact we can have. Last year, a young man was turned away from coming to this luncheon because he had attitude, Chief. He refused to change a shirt that he had on that we didn't approve of. He had such an attitude, we would not let him come to the Conqueror luncheon. Today, Sheila, you're going to love this. Today, he couldn't be here, not because he's incarcerated, because he's working at our thrift store and he's so valuable to us, we couldn't cut him loose to be here. That's the kind of change we made in that kid in 1 year. I want to start with Chief Anderson, then go to Sheriff Hall, and then I'm going to finish up with Sheila Callaway. She is a magistrate. That's what I'm supposed to call you, not judge, magistrate, Sheila Callaway. But I want you to address to these business leaders how we need the business leaders, again, involved with us in this ministry.
Well, certainly thank you for the opportunity, Lytle. And I want Dawn Diener to stand up. She didn't stand up all the way a while ago.
Just don't stand up. There.
Dawn and I are on opposite sides of issues a good many times, but we're always on the side of turning Nashville's kids around. So we have the opportunity with this program to not put her out of business, but to send her less clients. And we have the opportunity to send to the police department 2, 3, 10 more Harold Wells, Dr. Harold Wells. And we have the opportunity to find the next brain surgeon out there or the next scientist. So I watch these kids and I watch Lytle Thomas, and when I'm looking for words to describe Lytle Thomas, he's the real deal. I watch him with the kids, and I look around at these volunteers and the people that work there. They're the real deal. There's a lot of good programs in Nashville, but he's the grassroots program, and he's the real deal.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Chief Anderson is exactly right. If you don't know it, this is a good way to think of the way the city works as it relates to the criminal justice system. Obviously, the police department are out in the streets doing what is a very difficult task of balancing between what is criminal and where the line of criminal activity is, and then they bring that person to us. And then obviously Dawn's involved with representing the vast majority of those people throughout the procedures, the adult system. So I can give you an accounting. We've talked a lot about where we want to go as a city, but I want to give you an accounting of something there aren't cities in this country that can say. We're sitting here today with somewhere in the neighborhood of 800 empty beds. We haven't completely turned the lights off. 300 beds of an institution is locked. We have progress. I mean, this time's difficult, but I will tell you, as Chief Anderson was pointing out, trying to put people out of a job, I think that's a great thing to be able to talk about. The police are needed in the streets. You know, it'd be nice to think that the prevention of crime is a majority of what we're doing, instead of to have to arrest people. And in our business, you don't have cities Nashville size with that many empty beds where you're shutting wings of institutions down. And I've said this without him in the presence of this conversation many times. But one of the key figures in that, unfortunately, is not Chief Anderson and not Darren Hall, it is Lytle Thomas. When you can impact, when you can impact this young lady right here at this age, you know, the evidence is that a child who makes a decision to get into the life of crime is about a $2 million investment. So when Lytle Thomas is taking the bus through the neighborhood and people are getting on the bus, I'm here to tell you that's as effective of any public safety tool that you will ever fund through a government. So I hope that you give today. I hope you'll give of your time. And as Chief Anderson said, there are walkers and talkers. Well, Lytle Thomas, an inner city ministry, does all of that. He talks it as good as anybody, but I have never seen a person walk the way he does in this line of work. So I want to thank Lytle and thank you for being here.
I have called, thank you, Darren. Thank you, Chief. I've called Sheila at 11:15 in the morning and say, Sheila, I got 4 heathens here. I need you to sit down with us and have lunch and help me enforce on them the importance of setting boundaries in their life. And she'd say, where do you want me to meet you? And she does. She can communicate with our children very effectively. Got a PhD in jury, what's it called?
A Juris Doctorate.
Jury, you got a law degree, doctorate, there you go, at Vanderbilt University. And she knows the hearts of our children. Share your thoughts briefly with I said briefly. And she sings too.
Lytle always knows that briefly with me is very interesting term. I don't know if there's been a time that I've been really brief in my life, but I will say that Lytle's right. When he calls, he's got something that he needs you to do. And you know, I shared the story with this group last year about the call where we went and had lunch with, and they weren't heathens, they were 4 wonderful, young, misunderstood men.
There you go.
And I had the opportunity to meet with them. And it just impresses on me so much I don't even know where little Larry is now, but he's running around here somewhere.
Yeah. One of them's in college.
One of them's in college.
The gentleman's in school.
Absolutely.
He is in adult education.
Isn't that wonderful?
Young man's doing good.
It's about what they really do for these children on a regular basis. And I'll also say it doesn't even just stop with the children, but it extends to the family. And it's like Larry was saying earlier, they try to do what they can to make the family whole. And in one of the circumstances, one of the young gentlemen didn't have family, didn't have anywhere to go, didn't have anywhere to stay. And so a member of Inner City Ministries called and said, how can I step up and be a parent for this child? And they went through the process of going to juvenile court, filing a petition, stepping up to be that parent. And he is now in college, doing extremely well, and he has somewhere to go now for Christmas break and for spring break. And that is something that a lot of these children that we work with don't always get. And so it is a pleasure for me to always lend my support to Inner City Ministries. I will always be there for you, Lytle. Thanks.
Thank you so much. We want to thank you. We want to thank Ben Hall for taking his day off. Did you take off today? You going back to work? Well, you ain't going to find anything down here. We're doing a good job.
We have a big announcement, though. Apparently a ring was found in the bathroom. One of the Conquerors found a nice diamond ring. which is
Potato
great.
inspection plate.
Yeah, that they brought to the people up here. So if you've lost it, if you've lost a ring, please come get it. And we want to thank them for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to go with the sheriff, the chief, and Sheila and I are going to go at the door and shake hands with everybody when we leave here, because it's over. Thank you for being here. Did we leave anything out? Where's Linda? I want to thank Charlie Newsom. I had that on when we changed notes. Where's Charlie? Would you please stand? Charlie's the man that put this together. Where is Charlie? Here he is. And Linda Pope. Where's Linda Pope? She's probably up in the convention center office right now. Where is Linda? There she is, way down there. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Charlie. I'm going to run to the door. Ben is going to give you save the date. I hope you signed up to be a table host next year. Thank you, Ben Hall.
That's right. We already have the date for next year. Monday, August 26th, 2013, in this same room at 11:45. And once again, if you lost a ring, then please let us know. We have a ring up here. But thank you all for coming. What a great event and what a great way to spend lunch. Thanks again, everybody.